All right, welcome students. This is part 3 of chapter 8, graphing rational functions. Okay, so the reason why there's 3 parts to this is it gradually gets tougher and tougher. We started with equations that just had just a plain x in the bottom. Then we added an x with a number, either plus or minus. Now we're going to have x's on top and bottom. So each one of these takes a little bit of different methods for it. But there's some parts that are the same for all of them. Okay. So first thing, this is a rational function because it's a fraction and there's x's on top and the bottom. Okay. Second thing, this will have a vertical asymptote usually. Everything we're going to see in our chapter will have a vertical asymptote. Okay. The other thing they're going to have is a horizontal asymptote, but we'll do both of those separately. Okay. So the vertical asymptote happens this way. If you ever try to divide by a 0, that's undefined. So what we have to focus on is you can't let the denominator equal 0. So we take the denominator, 3x minus 1. We set it equal to 0, and we're going to solve that and say, okay, when would that be 0? What value of x makes this equal to 0? Okay, so we solve that. We go plus 1, 3x equals 1, and x equals 1/3. Okay. So we divided both sides by 3 and we get x equals 1/3. That's our first critical point. In fact, that's not even a point, that's a whole line. It's a whole line we're not allowed to cross. Because if 1/3 went into here, we'd have a 0 on the bottom. You cannot divide by 0. The function is undefined at that point. Okay, that's critical for our graph. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and set up our graph then. A nice, great, big graph. And a couple things, as I've said all year. 1, your graph should always have straight lines. And 2, if you have graph paper, your life's just so much easier. Your graphs are going to come up nicer. You'll make more sense. The homework will make more sense. And everyone will be happy. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the opposite direction. -1, -2, -3, and -4. Alrighty. And going up 1, 2, 3, 4. And going down 2, 3, 4. 4. -3, -2, -1. Okay, so this point, x equals 1/3, that is not exactly at 1. It's in between 1 and 2. Sorry, 0 and 1. It's in between 0 and 1. Is less than 1, so let's just estimate where it is. Pretty close to 0, and we're going to put a dashed line, and this is our asymptote. Okay, as mentioned in the previous ones, we're not going to be able to cross that vertical asymptote. So this is critical. We got to know where that is. And that's going through 1/3. X equals 1/3. There it is. Okay. That's the vertical asymptote. Second, we need the horizontal asymptote. Okay, so for horizontal asymptote, what's going to happen is the graph can usually, for our chapter at least, is going to go flat. That won't always be true, but I'm telling you, it is true for how much we're doing in this chapter. So, let me rewrite our equation here. What we want to know is, what happens if you go way out to the ends of the graph? I'm not talking just at -4, I'm talking way, way past, like 100, -100, and +100. What's going on way out there? So if we make a little table of values here, let's go ahead and zoom that in on that. And refocus. There we go. We want to plug in numbers like 100 and 1,000 and even 10,000. Okay. If we plug in 100 here, we're going to get 600 minus 1 over 300 minus 1, or 599 over 299, which will be 599 divided by 299. It's really close to 3. It's really close to 2, 2.003. There we go. If we plug in 1,000 here, we're going to get 5,999 over 2,999. And if you try it on the calculator, 5,999 divided by 2,999. And again, this is now starting to look familiar, 2.0003. So it's the same, but even more zeros. So here's the whole idea here. We're plugging in bigger numbers, but we're not getting bigger answers. They're staying right around 2. Okay. Even if you plug 10,000 in there, you have 59999, 29999, and it's going to give you 2.0003. Okay. So what this is approaching is getting really close to y equals 2. Our y values are coming out. We're plugging in large x values, and our y values are coming really close to 2. Okay. What that is, it tells us at far ends of the graph goes flat, and it flattens out at 2. So back to our graph over here. We're going to go right to the 2 and put a dashed line right through there. Okay, so now, as mentioned before, let's see if we can zoom that in. There we go. As mentioned before, there's only a couple things the graph can do. Okay, so think of the graph as a straight, it's not going to be a straight line, but if it was a straight line, it can't cross that asymptote. If that was our line, it can't do that. So what's going to have to happen is, if this is my graph, it's going to come close to there, and then zoom this out. It's going to be a curve sort of like that. It's going to go flat here, and either down here or up. But it can't cross the vertical asymptote, so it's either going to up or down. You're like, well, how the heck do we figure that out? Well, we need to make another table of values and figure out what's going on in this section and what's going on in this section. So this section is like the 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's just try 2 of the points. 3 of the points. Okay. We're going to plug them back into our original equation. If we plug 1 into our original equation, we'll get 6 minus 1, which is 5. Plug 1 into the bottom part, we'll get 3 minus 1, which is 2. And that's 2.5. Okay, let's refocus that. Okay, so it's 1 and 2.5. 1 and 2.5, that tells us something. It's up top. Okay, if we try the rest of the points, we're going to be able to verify this, but for right now, we sort of already know it's going to do something like that. Because we said it's going to flatten out to here. We said it's going to shoot up to there. Okay, you can try 2 and 3, and what you're going to find is they're going to come out over here. Okay, or sorry, 2 would be right there. 3 would be somewhere right there. It's going to be a small number, somewhere a little above 2. Okay, again, this thing's going to have some symmetry. So if we try a -1 and a -2, we're going to get some similar answers. Plug in -1 in here, we're going to get a -7 over -4, which is going to give us 1.75. All right, so -1 and 1.75. So we go across -1, up 1.75. That's a point up there. So since we know it's there, it's really going to look like this. Okay, we should try some more points, but for the most part, once you know where it is, we know it's going to smooth out to the horizontal axis and shoot down towards with the vertical axis. And that is your graph. Okay, so on the quiz, what's going to be critical? Point for your vertical asymptote, a point for your horizontal asymptote, and then points for getting these locations right. Okay, all the graphs are going to look something like that. So if you're getting some points way out in the middle of nowhere, if it's jumping up and spiking or doing anything weird at all, it's wrong. So basically, it should flatten out and it should shoot up or shoot down. Okay, those are the only possibilities for what we're doing in this chapter. All right, thanks for watching. That is the end of our rational expressions graphing stuff.